Alright, radio check, we should be live. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We have got the British Grand Prix underway. We've had FP1, the timings are up on the screen right now, and FP2 will be starting shortly. In fact, I'll just put the timer up on the screen. There we go. Practice starts in 15 minutes and 40 seconds for the second practice session. Once again, another hour-long session. And we then will have FP3 tomorrow, then one set of qualifying with Q1 to Q2, Q3, and then the race, of course. So, yeah, pretty standard British Grand Prix weekend, and so far we've had a little bit of action. Quite a few drivers getting caught up because of traffic not watching out behind them, the engineers not informing them of the drivers behind them, and apart from that, the only incident that we have had was Yuki Tsunoda spinning out at turn number 7, getting a very, was trying to go rather quickly and spun around the rear of the car, got stuck in the gravel trap, and then brought out the red flag. Unfortunately, he didn't even get a go out after the car was recovered back to the pit lane. There were still some sort of issues, and yeah, he was unable to get into the pits, so he was unable to take part in the remainder of the session, which has not worked out well for him, but I'm sure Tsunoda's raced at this circuit enough times and has had enough practice on the sim to not get too bogged down by the lack of, well, I think it's around 40 minutes or so of practice that he missed out. Hello Giuseppe and MCG. The data's just gone blank for a second. It'll be back shortly. Yeah, Sergeant P1. Well, we can hope, can't we? We can hope. Yo, F1 Gamer, looks like a dry qualifying and a wet race. Have you got any news? Well, thank you for asking, and it does look like it's going to be a dry qualifying. In terms of a wet race, it is too hard to say really, mainly because of the fact that the Met Office in the UK is really not that accurate, and any sort of weather predictions in the UK is not that accurate. It says it will rain, and sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, and I'm never really sure. So if we currently check the forecast, weather.com says that it will be raining on Sunday during the time of the race. If we check the Met Office, it will be saying that it is not raining at the time of, oh no, there's a 40% chance of it raining. So a little bit unpredictable, but the chances of raining are still, they were present 1 week ago and they are still present today, which means that, you know, there's quite a, I would hope that there's rain, given that it is the UK, probably will rain. So I'm going to go with a solid 60% chance of rain for the race on Sunday. Yeah. Hi from South Africa. Thank you very much. Where did you hear that from? Well, the source is in fact me, because I live in the UK. So yeah, that is the source. Hi F1 Gamer, didn't know you did free practice. Well, normally I don't actually. Normally I do not have time, but since I have holidays from university, I have time now, and I can do the free practice sessions. Yeah. Weather predictions are meant to cover fairly large areas. We will likely know more accurate about half an hour before the race. That is indeed very, very true. And I think just looking from the clouds half an hour before the race, you'll be able to tell if it's going to rain or not. And yeah. All right. So we will have free practice in 11 minutes. Zach Brown giving a little bit of an interview here to Sky Sports F1. Yeah, nothing too exciting really. Of course, the McLarens, they'll be looking to try and get right to the top of the timings. Lando Norris has been the star driver for McLaren so far this season. Oscar Piastri has been there waiting in the shadows, waiting in the wings to potentially pounce. And sometimes, he has outqualified Lando Norris. Sometimes he's outscored him in the race. But Lando Norris, when it comes to challenging Max Verstappen, Lando Norris has been McLaren's guy. And we'll see if Oscar Piastri can change that, Of course, it is Lando Norris's home race, so I'm sure it will be maybe in Lando Norris's favour, but if you can beat your teammates anywhere, beating them at their home race would really show that you mean business. And maybe Piastri will be trying to do that. Yeah. Are they starting the grid using the soft tyres? Well, it's too hard to say. If we looked at last year's race at Silverstone, the soft tyres were kind of actually preferable. They were fairly usable and they provided a decent amount of grip for a decent number of laps. So soft tyres will probably be something that we see starting the race on Sunday. But we'll have to wait and see on what the drivers decide to do. All right. A lot of drivers home race, but Oscar made sure it wasn't his, yeah. Okay, I hope Ferrari make a good step in the right direction. Well, I've got some news for you. Ferrari have opted to go for a split specification on their cars, meaning that Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc will be running separate upgrade packages on their cars in an effort to try and find out where the issue lies in their car, where they can gain performance, and to try and propel them up through the field. Like, Ferrari have been sort of struggling. They've been sort of asking questions about where their pace has gone, and it's just kind of disappeared. And, well, it's not disappeared. They're still third fastest team, maybe. Maybe Mercedes are getting a little bit quicker, and Ferrari might be going down to fourth fastest. But in an effort to try and get back up to second fastest, or maybe even first fastest, they will be running split specifications this weekend. And then they'll be poring over the data before the next race, and then hopefully they will have optimized their setup. Red Bull did that on the previous weekend in Austria. They ran a split setup, and we have got a whole lot of upgrades for Red Bull this weekend. Floor upgrades, side pod upgrades, I think engine cover changes as well. So yeah, Red Bull have got they've got upgrades. We'll see if they're quicker or not, but I think due to the fact that they did take the split specification at the previous race, the performance should be a bit better because they have really tried to understand the car. Of course, they do not have Adrian Newey anymore, so his overarching direction that kind of helps the team, that might not have worked out, that might not be there as a helping hand to lead them in the right direction. So maybe they will have gone the wrong direction, and it's tough to say because who knows how big of an impact Adrian Newey was having, or maybe he was just going along with all of the other engineers, and the other engineers could see from the data. So yeah, we'll have the next couple of upgrades from Red Bull coming without any sort of input from Adrian Newey, and that will be very, very exciting. I did not see Haas run any upgrades in FP1. I don't think Haas have brought upgrades this weekend. I will double check, but normally they had Oliver Behrman in the car in FP1, so I don't think they will have upgrades this weekend. Normally they don't put in a young driver to do an FP1 session when they have upgrades, normally because Haas, when they do bring upgrades, they don't have that many spares, so you don't want to put a young driver in and then them crash the car, and then you lose your upgraded parts. So that's normally why you don't see upgrades from Haas when you have Oliver Behrman driving. Also, Oliver Behrman, of course, has signed a multi-year contract with the Haas F1 team, and I'm sure that'll be through sort of part of the Ferrari Driver Academy. So, sort of a stepping stone. Of course, we had Charles Leclerc, who was at Sauber through the Ferrari Driver Academy, and he got promoted up to Ferrari. So when we'll have Oliver Bearman come into the Haas team, and then maybe after Lewis Hamilton retires or Charles Leclerc leaves, we'll have Oliver Bearman promoted up into the Ferrari team. But yeah, he is in the Haas F1 team for next year, and he'll be looking to make some progress, looking to continue on from his high in Saudi Arabia, and yeah. But what is Sainz even doing? Indeed, what is Sainz going to do? Because it is, in fact, he's even said in his own interviews it causes him a lot of stress and to think about what he's going to do for next year. If he doesn't go to Mercedes are really, they're really behind trying to get Kimi Antonelli. Now, whether that is a good idea or not, that is up to Toto Wolff to decide. He clearly thinks it is a good idea. Now, the question is, does he want Kimi Antonelli to have maybe a year in Williams? Because Williams are also looking for a second driver. Alex Albon is a quick driver. So if they can get Kimi Antonelli in for a year at Williams and then bring him up to Mercedes, that would probably be the most optimal way, the least a pressure-free way. Whereas, if Mercedes are the second fastest team and then you have Kimi Antonelli join and he's 10th, he comes 10th, 11th, 12th in all of the practice and race sessions, then it's not a good look, and it applies far too much pressure to a young rookie driver. Your voice makes me sleep. Well, I'm not that excited right now, but I'm sure when we have race sessions, I'll be a lot more excited and my voice will be a lot more excited. My voice will be a lot more exciting and I'll be a lot more excited about what's going on. We're probably going to have some real good racing around here. Even if it isn't Lando Norris versus Max Verstappen, because Red Bull have brought upgrades, I have a feeling that Lando Norris, Lewis Hamilton and George Russell are going to have a big old battle. And we should have some good racing here at Silverstone. Feel bad for Carlos. Imagine being one of the best drivers on the grid but not having a seat for next year. I know it is a very tough thing, and I mean, I'm sure Sainz could have got something sorted out if you wanted to go to Williams for a year, then yeah. But I think Sainz is looking for something at a top team. He's a top team driver, top tier driver, very quick, performing alongside Charles Leclerc. So he's looking for something at a top team, but there are just no slots open at a top team. Very, very unfortunate. I think he should just ask for Ocon's seat and have some fun for a year. Yeah, that is probably a good option. And maybe ask for Ocon's seat. And this is the thing, for Carlos Sainz, the main thing that he'll want to do is sort of get a 2-year contract with a 1-year break clause. So what he can do is go into 2025 and do whatever racing. But then say in 2026, the Alpine are right at the bottom of the pack. Then he has that break clause, which means that he can go and join another team, preferably a quicker team. So who knows? Okay, but here we go then. FP2 is about to begin. We have got the hardest tyres from the Pirelli range here in Silverstone, the C3, the C2 and the C1 for the soft, medium and hard respectively. Massive amounts of tyre wear happen around this circuit. Very, very high speed, of course, and that's why Pirelli have opted for the hardest compound in their range. Okay, I just saw Red Bull News, Racing Bull News, and said Ricciardo has a performance clause, but my question, why not Yuki instead of Daniel? Oh, Checo and Ricciardo have a performance clause, but why not Yuki instead of Daniel? Well, I think Yuki probably joined AlphaTauri with sort of a from a rookie sort of perspective, whereas Checo and Ricciardo have joined from they've joined from a different team, so that's probably why they have the performance clause in there, just so Yuki doesn't feel so much pressure when he is at AlphaTauri. No. Hello, Blitzkrieg boy. No worries, mate. No worries. Of course, you missed a pretty good race, to be honest. But I'm sure the highlights will have filled you in on that. Can I ask someone where to watch the full race live after it takes place? Well, if you want to watch the full race live after it takes place, if you go into the description, there is a link to F1 TV Pro. You don't actually need F1 TV Pro, you only need F1 TV Access, which is only like £2 a month or $3 a month or something, and you can watch all of the races after they have finished. I think you can actually watch races all the way back till 1990 or something, till after they've finished, so yeah. You can be sure Max would go to Mercedes if they offered more money than Red Bull. I don't think they would. I don't think Max would. If Max has got a championship-winning car at Red Bull, I think you would probably drive the championship-winning car for free rather than go to Mercedes and be in the third fastest car or something along those lines. Yeah. Of course, these people are racing drivers after all, and their entire life has been spent trying to be top step of that podium and being the fastest out of everyone. So, yeah. I know, if they want to save some money, if the budget cap is really coming at you, is really affecting you really badly, then be sure to just call me up. I'll be there to drive for you. Anytime, any place, I'll be there. Just, send me an email, AlphaTauri or someone. No worries, Victoria. Glad I could help. Alright, FP2 has begun. We have got the drivers out onto the circuit. Logan Sargent, Yuki Tsunoda, Alex Albon, all of them are making their way out. And yeah. All the way up to 77k subs. Hope to get to 100k ASAP. Yeah, that would be fantastic. I mean, I think if we keep going at the rate that we're growing, that rhymes. Keep going at the rate that we're growing. We'll hit 100k by the end of the season. But of course, it's hard to say. Well, if we'll keep going at the rate that we're going, maybe things will slow down a bit. Who knows? But if you guys are enjoying, then be sure to subscribe. That would massively help out the channel. In fact, I think I might just type a little pinned comment saying, please like and subscribe. Alright, a couple of drivers sat in the garage, but everyone else is making their way out, and we will have some racing on our... Well, not racing, we'll have some practice on our hands shortly. This is the other thing, because it is an FP2 session, this is the same time that qualifying will be happening tomorrow, or I think there's only a 1 hour difference, so track conditions, air temperature, all of these different things will be kind of similar to what's happening tomorrow. Hence, the teams will probably be doing their quick quali laps, the Q1 simulations, the Q2 simulations, all of those. They'll be doing those in this practice session, so I will let you know when a couple of drivers are out on the soft tyres, and we'll see what they can do. All right. Alright, what else was I going to say? Will you be streaming FP3 too? Indeed I will. Currently the stream is hidden on my YouTube channel. As soon as FP2 finishes, I'll make it public. And the same will be done for qualifying and the race. Alrighty. In fact, I'm just I'm getting a little warning here that the data is going to freeze. So just hang in there, and the data will be back in just 30 seconds or so. Yeah. It's just accounting for the little delay and making sure everything's in sync properly. So yeah, the data's frozen for a sec, but it'll be back in a jiffy. Awesome, defo plan on watching them. Well, thank you very, very much. That is my next question. Will FP3 be streaming here as well? Indeed, it will be. Brilliant, brilliant. Alright then. What else have we got going on in practice? Well, by the looks of it, everyone out on the medium tyres this time. We had mostly in FP1, we had drivers out on the hard tyres. So they've opted to go for the mediums. I think if the soft tyres were good last year, the soft tyres will most likely be good this year, and hence, because the hard tyres aren't just that good of a race tyre, I think I remember last year the hard tyres not being that good in the race because the track temperatures were fairly low, so they weren't actually able to get them up into the correct temperature window, and because of that, they suffered in race pace. So it looks like they're trying to optimize for the medium tyres. We've got Ocon on a flying lap there. A couple more drivers on a flying lap, a 1:29.1 from Valtteri Bottas, nicely done. And also check what pole time was last year, just as a little bit of a reference, but I'm sure since it is just practice, most of the drivers will not be pushing that hard. Okay, what do you think about the Sainz to Alpine rumour? Well, I think Sainz has been rumoured to go everywhere in the paddock. He's been rumoured to go to Williams. He's been rumoured to go to Alpine, maybe Haas, maybe Aston Martin. There's been rumours everywhere because Sainz has been out of a seat for next year for so long. It's gone around the entire paddock, and every single team he's got every single team he has got rumours with, so it's really hard to say where he's going to go. All right. There we go. Let me just pin that message. Nope. There we go. All right. So we have 54 minutes of practice. Sergio Perez is actually, he's just come out on a lap, and Kevin Magnussen as well. Of course, we've had 4 drivers that haven't actually done any practice so far because they were sat out in FP1. They had rookie drivers in for FP1. So Pierre Gasly, he hasn't done any laps before. Sergio Perez, he hasn't done any laps. Kevin Magnussen, he also has not done any laps. And who was the other driver? Logan Sargent, he also has not done any laps so far. And that is why, just take that into account if you are looking at the lap times, and that's probably why Perez and Magnussen still haven't come out yet. They've probably been changing the seats over the lunch break. Okay, last year's pole time of 1:26.7. Thank you for the information, Aviation 426. And yeah. All right. Also, folks, if you do have any suggestions for anything that I can improve, then that I can improve on the stream, then be sure to hit the. Oh, be sure to let me know in the chat. Or otherwise, my Instagram is f1_gamer_5, and feel free to DM me on there. Let's see. Yeah, nothing much really. Kevin Magnussen, he's doing a bit of a hot lap there on his hard tyres by the looks of it. No, he's on medium tyres. Apologies. Yeah, but nicely done there from Kevin Magnussen. In fact, I should probably take you around the circuit Quite an interesting circuit here. Of course, the circuit that held the first ever Formula One race in history. We have, of course, got the start-finish straight, which is fairly self-explanatory. Don't think that, in fact, there is DRS on the start-finish straight. The drivers do activate it just a bit, and then it gets disabled as they go into. Oh no, they don't have DRS. Apologies for that. They don't have DRS down the start-finish straight. They go through turn number 1 and 2 into turn number 3, which is, oh, I forgot, I think it's Village. Yeah, turn number 3 is Village. Turn 4 is the loop. Then you get on to the Wellington Straight, which has got DRS. Going into Le Field, I think it is turn 7. Yeah, the DRS, of course, going down the Wellington Straight, there's lots of action that you can get into turn number 6 and then through into turn number 7, because the corner switches back onto itself, very much like Kota Sector 3. It just springs up loads of different chances, loads of different lines that you can take to try and possibly overtake your opponent, which is brilliant. And then, of course, going up into turn number 8, turn number 9, Copse Corner, where there has been quite a bit of history and quite a few incidents, maybe in the past couple of years. Yeah, I remember commentating that one between Hamilton and Verstappen. It was quite the exciting race. Then through turn number 10 and 11, you've got Maggots and Beckett's, and then through turn number, and then you've got the Hanger Straight, once again DRS down there. The drivers approach 320 kilometers an hour. And then through turn number 15, it is Stowe Corner. We see quite a couple of drivers go wide here, and F2 qualifying drivers exceeding track limits around that corner. So you do have to be careful. And on the exit of Maggots and Beckett's, when you go into Abbey on turn number 14, you can exceed track limits there as well. So yeah, the driver's got to be careful, and then they go through turn number 16, 17, and 18 to end out the lap at Club Corner. So yeah, quite the exciting circuit. Of course, quite a few high-speed corners. Of course, Copse, Maggots, and Beckett's turn number 1 and 2. Even Stowe Corner is fairly high speed, but then you do have your fair share of slow corners as well. The final chicane going through turn number 3 and 4, the loop, and Le Field as well. Brooklands and Le Field. Quite a bit of exciting. Yeah, just quite an exciting circuit, and it's a good racetrack, very, very wide. A little bit of wind. It is sometimes unpredictable. Today we've got in FP1 we had a 2.5 kilometer per hour wind. Now it's up to 6 kilometers an hour. Oh, and there we go. Charles Leclerc has gone wide at going through. It was Charles Leclerc going wide through Maggots and Beckett's. Just the car not totally planted underneath him, and then ending up going over the curbs. So yeah, Pierre Gasly also exceeding track limits at Copse Corner and probably damaging his floor. The amount of sparks coming out of his floor is insane, and I've got to say that, yeah, Pierre Gasly, drivers have got to be careful going through Stowe Corner, going through Maggots and Beckett's. If you do struggle in the high speed, then going over those curbs at 200 miles an hour is really not going to help whatsoever. Yeah, all right. Charles Leclerc, though, coming over the radio saying that he is struggling in the high speed and the car's just a bit tricky. So, yeah, I think he might just be experiencing the rear of the car being a little bit loosey-goosey and him not having enough grip going through the high-speed corners. So, probably going to have to turn up the rear wing angle as he goes into Maggots and Beckett's to try and stabilize the car a bit. The most perfect circuit in my opinion. Yeah, it's got a good mix of everything really. I love Suzuka. Driving Suzuka is fantastic, but it is such a narrow circuit that with these wide Formula One cars, racing becomes fairly difficult. Of course, as on a qualifying lap, there's nothing like the roller coaster of the first sector in Suzuka, but when it comes to racing against other drivers, there is there's a lot left that you're wishing for a lot left. What was I even going to say? There's a lot left to wish for. Essentially. So this circuit, it covers that. I think Spa as well, one of those circuits, absolutely fantastic. The Hockenheim Ring as well. Brilliant race circuits, to be honest. Brilliant circuits. Who has the most penalty points at the moment? I think it is Kevin Magnussen, who is one race away from... Oh no, I think a couple more points, 2-3 more points away from getting a race ban. But those points, of course, do expire every 3 months. So I think he has a couple of points expiring soon enough. I don't think it's every 3 months they expire. I think they expire every 12 months, but yeah. Okie dokes. What else have we got going on? Carlos Sainz staying within track limits. They're doing what Charles couldn't, but he is, of course, 3.5 tenths down on Max Verstappen going through the second sector. So, yeah, drivers struggling a little bit there. And I'm sure they'll be analysing the data. This is normally what we see. We see quite a big step between... Friday and Saturday because the teams optimize and analyze everything, and in an effort to try and be quicker, of course. So, yeah. All right. Why did Hamilton stay so long in the pits and Russell came flying out? I think it's just different run plans, really. The Mercedes probably have got a slightly different run plan for Hamilton compared to Russell. I think, are they on different tyres? No, they're on the same set of tyres. It's probably just different run plans, really. Nothing much. Checo reported understeer, so he's adjusted his wing flaps. Yeah, fairly standard stuff for a practice session, to be honest. The drivers, of course, if you look at the team radio, you can see that, they're changing for the diff settings. Carlos Sainz coming over the radio saying, I want more rotation through turn number 6 and 3 and 6, and he's been told to come onto the throttle early for turn number 3. All of these different things is what you see in practice sessions. It's quite good to see, actually, the sort of slow process that the drivers have to build up to that pace. Very, very interesting to watch, of course. All right, Max Verstappen on a flying lap. Here he comes out of turn number 18. What can he do? Across the line he goes, and it is a 127.223 on a set of soft tyres. Fantastic job. Well, we will see, I think, drivers go quicker than Max Verstappen in this practice session, but... that will mainly be because track evolution will get a lot more significant and will ramp up the circuit a lot more as we head up into the later stages of FP2. Okay. Also, folks, if you do have any questions about Formula 1 or anything along those lines, then be sure to let me know in the chat. Since there isn't that much going on the circuit, everyone now looking to come in. As you can see, everyone just driving around fairly slowly, doing their final outlaps. And yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, also I have set up a Patreon or a Buy Me a Coffee link. So if you guys are interested in helping out the channel financially, to help me keep doing what I'm doing in the previous... Well, I've been doing it for how many years? Three years now. Previous 3 years. Hopefully I can do it for 3 more years with the help of you guys. So... and I've disabled the ads once again. YouTube sent me a pop-up, so YouTube enabled the ads themselves. I've just disabled them again, so hopefully they should be, hopefully they'll switch off. But yeah, that's another thing. If I keep on switching off the adverts for you folks, which is what I want to do, there has to be, of course, another way to financially keep the channel going. You totally answered my question. I was watching Hamilton and he disappeared, and then noticed he was in the pits. What position is Hamilton currently? 3rd. Yes, Hamilton is currently 3rd. And I think he's doing a bit of a long run on a set of medium tyres. So, yeah, just essentially... The team, what they've done is they've probably fueled up the car to 50% fuel, and then they've said go out and do 10 laps, 15 laps on a set of medium tyres. We're going to see how much your pace drops off. Does it increase because the tyres wear out, but the car also gets lighter because the fuel, the fuel, of course, burns off? Or are you going to get slower? And they're kind of just using this sort of information to optimize their strategy for the race on Sunday. So that's what they're doing. They're essentially doing a sort of race simulation, and that goes into all of their software and everything that they've created to try and pick out the best possible strategy. All right. What will happen to Daniel Ricciardo? Well, it is hard to say. Of course, there have been things that have come out of the Red Bull garage that have said that that Daniel Ricciardo has got a performance-based contract, saying that. So I don't know exactly how performance-based contracts would work, but maybe it would be, what was it? A certain number of points, and then he gets to stay, or maybe he has to outqualify his teammates a certain number of times, and then he still gets to stay in his in his current seat. So it all depends on that contract, really, and if he can live up to it. Giuseppe, thank you for the donation. Thanks for the coverage, URP1. Very much do appreciate it, buddy. And thank you for the $5 donation. And yeah, I hope to see you around in a couple more streams. I think if you stick around till, actually, yeah, for this weekend or next weekend, I'll probably make you a moderator, since we are running a little low on the number of mods, mainly because we've got quite a few mods that are Australian, and hence the times, well, yeah, the race times doesn't work out optimally for them. So I think I'll add you as a moderator. You've been here for a while. Peter Tissot, why is F1 called Formula? Is it something ancient or something else there other than baby formula? I don't know. No, I'm not particularly sure why it's called Formula 1. That is a good question. I should probably research that, actually. Yeah. F1 gave me a great commentating. Thank you very much. Can Ferrari win Mercedes? Well, I don't know exactly what you mean, but I think you mean, is Ferrari going to be quicker than the Mercs? Well, as of now, the two Ferraris are ahead of the two Mercedes drivers, but I'm going to say in the next couple of... I think maybe this weekend Mercedes will be quicker, but then Ferrari, they've opted for the split specification that suggests that they'll be bringing an upgrade package to the Hungarian Grand Prix or to the Belgian Grand Prix. And I think after the upgrade package, Ferrari will do nicely and probably end up just behind McLaren by the sounds of it. That's what I think. Formula designates a particular kind of rules. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense, actually. Formula 1 is a specific set of rules and regulations that the participants must adhere to. Interesting. Well, thank you for the information, guys. Say hi if you see this. By the way, do you like Lewis' decision of changing to Ferrari? Well, thank you for the question, Kate. And yeah, I mean, Lewis, he's a fantastic driver, and he's had so much history in Formula 1, and he hasn't driven for Ferrari, of course, the most prestigious team in the whole of Formula 1. So it's a good move, and I would say I look forward to seeing what happens with Lewis Hamilton and Ferrari. Of course, Hamilton has got so many years experience of how things have been done at Mercedes. I'm sure that things have done totally different at Ferrari. A lot of things happen behind closed doors, a lot of politics, a lot of internal team games. So maybe Lewis Hamilton put an end to that. Maybe he will not like the environment and leave. Like, it is very, very interesting. We'll see what happens. Where can I see all this data for myself? Is there a link? Also, there is this thing called Multiviewer, but you do have to get F1 TV, and then you have to sort of sign in with F1 TV, and then you can get all the data. Or you could just watch my live stream. So those are the two options, really. Yeah. Both the RB drivers reporting no grip, and Checo has a lack of rotation in the slow speed corners. Yeah, this is sort of the thing, really. When you go into these high speed corners, what you want, if you're looking for just high speed performance, you want a very stiff suspension, and you want a stiff suspension, soft anti-roll bars, and you just essentially want to have your car as low as possible to the ground. Whereas when you want to go through slow speed corners, you want to maximize your You want to maximize the grip that you get from your tires rather than aerodynamic grip, and that grip is maximized by having a soft suspension, the car sort of the weight being transferred over from the left to the right, and maximizing all of the grips on the loaded up wheels. And I would say that yeah, it's a compromise. It's difficult because this circuit, it's only got a couple of medium speed corners. I'd say Luffield is a bit of a medium speed corner, and so is Brooklyn, which is turn 6 and 7. But Brooklyn's turn 6, Luffield's turn 7. But essentially, those are the only two sort of medium speed corners. Apart from that, everything else is either slow speed or it is high speed. So to find a balance, yeah, you want to be quick in the high speeds, but then you're going to have to be compromising the slow speeds. So it's yeah, a tough thing to make, but I'm sure overnight they'll have a couple of test drivers in the sim rig. They'll be playing with setups, tweaking things around, and then they will have they'll find an optimal point to go for tomorrow. Yeah, latest money move. Lewis from a second place Mercedes to a third place Ferrari. Well, I'm sure Lewis, I don't know, maybe he's been promised by Ferrari that 2026 will be Ferrari's year and they'll dominate for 7 years in a row or something, but it's hard to say. Hard to say what Ferrari has told him. Of course, I'm sure when it was, I think, Daniel Ricciardo moved to Renault, there were a whole bunch of promises that the team's going to do super well and, they're going to be right up at the top of the pack, but none of those materialized, so maybe that will be the same thing with Ferrari. Who is your favourite F1 driver and team? Well, my favourite F1 driver would be Sebastian Vettel, I guess I didn't really support a team, I just supported whoever Vettel was with. So when he was with Ferrari, then I supported Ferrari, and when he was with Aston Martin, I supported Aston Martin. So unfortunately Seb Vettel's retired though, so maybe, and now I sort of support Fernando Alonso and Yuki Tsunoda, but I'm not that committed. Whereas if when Vettel was still racing, if I was commentating and Vettel was doing really well, then you could definitely see the bias coming through. Whereas for now, I think the bias has come down a little bit when I'm talking about Fernando Alonso and Yuki Tsunoda. Ooh, Lance Stroll up into second place. Nice lap there from him. And he goes half a tenth behind Max Verstappen on a set of soft tyres. He's done his fast soft tyre run. Max Verstappen, he's in fact come out on another set of soft tyres. And we are having another quick lap from Max Verstappen with 34 minutes left on the clock. Track temperature is at 30 degrees. Air temperature is at 18.5 degrees. So we're going to have a nice bit of, track's warmed up a little bit, and we should have some quick quali laps from Max Verstappen. The pole time last year was a 1:26 something, I think a 1:26.2, a low 1:26 essentially. And we're about a second off that, but of course it is practice that they have not turned up the engine mode whatsoever. Okay. Yeah, folks, do let me know what your favourite driver is. I think I can tell from some of you, but some of the new people like Giuseppe and Kate and Visible Pie, do let me know. Alright, Nico Hulkenberg, purple through the first sector. Very nice. I mean, we see the Hasses get through into Q3 occasionally, and then in the races they drop back a little bit. But I've got to say, in Austria, they managed to stay up there in 6th and 8th position, so solid points for Haas. Then there comes Charles Leclerc, a 1:27.1 from him. He goes a tenth quicker than Max Verstappen. Nico Hulkenberg up there on provisional. It's not provisional pole, it's practice, but yeah, Nico Hulkenberg up there in first position. Very nicely done. Yeah. Brilliant, really. Let's see. Max Verstappen, Lewis, Sainz. Yeah, we've got a good mix here of everyone. And I think, yeah, it's good to have a good mix rather than just having a Max Verstappen stan YouTube channel. When did you start liking Formula One? Oh, Piastri's just put himself up into first position, goes a tenth quicker than Hulkenberg, but most importantly, goes 3/10 quicker than Charles Leclerc. So there's some serious pace there from Oscar Piastri. We'll see what Norris can do. Norris is currently out on his out lap as well. Hamilton also out on an out lap, so we've got a couple of fast laps coming in. But to answer your question, when did you start liking Formula One? It was, the first ever race that I watched was 2018 Spa. Sebastian Vettel won that race, and that was the race where the iconic commentary line, "And here comes Sebastian Vettel." That was the race where that came from. And yeah, and then I've basically watched every race since. I've missed a couple, because of events and stuff, but yeah. Who has the track record? Max Verstappen has the track record from a lap in 2020. Yeah. All right, then, here we go. We've got a couple of flying laps underway. Lando Norris is on his first sector. It looks like he's not getting a toe. Lewis Hamilton might have got a little toe off Tsunoda, but nothing significant. Let's wait and see. Now goes up through turn number 8, now towards Copse Corner. It's very difficult to stay within track limits here, but Lewis Hamilton, the car is absolutely planted. He sends it through Copse Corner, stays within track limits now, approaching Maggots and Beckett's up in 8th gear, flicks the car left, flicks the car right, and now downshifts as he goes through turn number 12 and 13, through into Abbey, stays within track limits. Very nicely done there from Lewis Hamilton. Now onto the hanger straight, DRS wide open as he goes into Stowe Corner, slamming onto the brakes only at the 50-meter mark, braking so late, carrying all of that speed through Stowe Corner, and now we get to the final chicane, hits the brakes there, and he, hits the curbs, does not go too viciously over the curbs, but Lando Norris behind him is going far quicker than Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton goes up into 4th position. Nice lap there. Final third sector was the fastest out of anyone, but here comes Lando Norris. Purple in sector 1, in sector 2, and in sector 3. 3/10 quicker than his teammate and is up in first position. Of course, once again, I would like to reiterate, this is practice. Lando Norris has not got pole position, but yeah, it is it's looking good. It's looking good for the McLarens. Of course, we're still yet to see what Max Verstappen can do. He did have a quick lap, but unfortunately he aborted his quick lap. It looks like he made a mistake in the second sector and hence just aborted it and came into the pits. Max Verstappen, he does have pace, so what he was doing is going through Maggots and Beckett's. He goes through and gets a massive snap coming out of Beckett's, goes up onto the exit curb, and not even the exit curb, the runoff area, just gets a massive snap, and then backs off from his quali lap. Max Verstappen struggling there a little bit, but I'm sure that was just a little mistake, which he will be sure to correct on his next lap. Do they ever do more than one flying lap between pit in and pit out? Normally it is just one, but it depends. If the circuit is very, very short and if it's wet conditions, then yes, definitely the drivers normally do 4 or 5 laps on a set of wet tyres before they come into the pits again. In dry conditions, though, we previously saw it a lot more in Formula One, but as of now, in the past couple of years, it's very rare that you see a team go out and do two laps on between pit in and pit out, and the only time that they would do that is sort of changeable conditions when they don't know if it's going to start to rain or not, so they just give the drivers a chance to do 2 laps in case they mess up the first lap. And the reason they go into the pit so much is because they are, as you can see, everyone is out on a set of soft tyres. They're all trying to go out as quick as possible, and because of that, the soft tyres, they have to refuel. They're going for quali laps, so that means they have to refuel at the end of each run, and that's why they go back into the pits to refuel the car. Do you know when the next F1 race is going to be and when? Indeed I do. The schedule has been published. It is going to be it's going to be next weekend as far as I can remember. Let me just check. oh no, not next weekend, in 2 weekends' time in Hungary. So the 19th, 20th, and 21st of July will be the Hungarian Grand Prix, and the week following that will be the Belgian Grand Prix. Leclerc's GPS malfunctioning. Yeah, he's coming to the pits now, so it should be fine. But yeah. Right. I don't know if this is a dumb question, but why is Max pitted so long? Normally because they haven't really got much else to do. I'm sure it'll be coming out on a set of probably medium tyres to do a long run or something along those lines. But yeah, Max is the last time I saw anything of him on the TV feed, he was just sat there analysing the telemetry to try and go quicker and quicker. I hope it rains in Spa, but not too hard. Indeed, yeah, I remember 2021 Spa rained very, very heavily, and of course we only had 3 laps behind the formation, 3 laps behind the safety car, and then the race was called off. So, yeah. All right. Shadow Avenger, give me a shout out. Well, I guess that's your shout out there. I'm going to have a quick sip of water. We've got 26 minutes left of free practice 2. Folks, if you are enjoying the coverage, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. We're getting pretty close to 500 likes, and we're getting pretty close to the subscriber target as well. I'm just going to have a quick sip of water so my throat does not start hurting. Right. The summer break is in 3 weeks' time, I think. Yeah. So in 2 weeks' time, we have got the Hungarian Grand Prix. The week following that is the Belgian Grand Prix, and then the Belgian Grand Prix is the start of the summer break. And then I think the 22nd of August or something along those lines, it will be the Dutch Grand Prix. Yeah, Lando Norris goes wide, going through Copse Corner. He comes over the radio to tell his engineers that. What was he? Oh yeah, he told his engineers to check the floor because he might have damaged it. And that's the thing. The curbs around here are quite vicious, and the floor is getting more and more intricate as the days go on, and the upgrades keep coming through. Yeah, loads of. The floor getting more and more intricate. Little pieces fall off, and you do lose a little bit of performance there. So the teams will be careful of that. Are you going to commentate the Austrian Grand Prix? The Austrian Grand Prix has already happened, so yeah, it's currently up on the channel. Hey bro, do you follow MotoGP? Unfortunately not. Yeah. MotoGP seems really cool. I've seen a couple of clips here and there, but I have not watched any of the races, unfortunately. F1 gamers, yeah, fire up your time machine, go back in time. Indeed, I'll hit 88 miles an hour, won't I? Going down the Hangar Straight, and then I'll time travel back in time. All right. Everyone now, well, we've got a couple more drivers coming out, but Verstappen and Perez out. But by the looks of it, Verstappen, yeah, there we go, out on a set of medium tyres. It looks like he's going to be doing a long run till the end of the session. Sergio Perez, looking at the tyres that he's got on, he's going to be doing some quick laps as of now. Okay. What are the McLarens up to? Lando Norris up on a set of medium tyres. Oscar Piastri out on a set of softs. I think what they're doing here is now sort of analysing the how much wear that they get on these tyres. So what normally they do in the race pace simulations is they have to predict how much this tyre is going to wear out for a given fuel load. So what I think they've done, especially at the McLaren and the Red Bull garage, is that they have gone out on a set of medium tyres and they have put a certain amount of fuel in, and they've put the exact same amount of fuel in Piastri's car and he's given him a set of soft tyres, and now they're analysing how much tyre degradation there is for a given fuel load, and then they're going to work out which is the better option for maybe the second stint of the race or maybe the third stint. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what is up with Kevin Magnussen. He's quite a bit off the pace. If we have a look at his sector times don't look awful. But yeah, his pace is lacking. And maybe he is just doing long runs. But yeah. Oh no, in fact, we've just got a replay of Kevin Magnussen here. He went wide going through Stowe Corner, went super wide, in fact. The car bouncing all around there and skidding all over the floor as well, so they're going to have to check that. But I think Kevin Magnussen's just struggling a little bit with handling the car. Going that wide at Stowe Corner is a bit of a red flag there, so the Haas team will have to get that under control soon enough. Is it going to rain? It is hard to say, is it going to rain, but I'm going to say that it probably will on Sunday, but I don't think it'll be raining today. Gary Wiseman, I missed your commentary last week. What was your take on the Lando/Max incident? Did Max do too much in your eyes? Well, I'm just going to say it was a bit of a racing incident. Like, both drivers were racing extremely hard. Maybe on that one occasion it was Max Verstappen's fault a little bit more than it was Lando Norris's. But yeah, like, in these sort of situations, it's so tight, and the drivers, they can't both see everything and place the car in the most optimal position. I'm sure Max Verstappen could have done something better, and Lando Norris could have done something better. So yeah, I think in these sort of situations, you kind of have to ask the question, can one of the drivers do anything better? Like, if Lando Norris could not have done anything better than he possibly could have done, then it's Max Verstappen's fault. But if Max Verstappen could have not done anything different and he did the most optimal thing possible, then it's Lando Norris' fault. But otherwise, you fall in this grey area where both drivers are racing to try and overtake each other, and they both go a little bit too far, and end up having a bit of an incident between them. Yeah. Yeah, a bit of a weird accident. I didn't expect both drivers to get a puncture. Like, it was, it was wheel-on-wheel contact, and it's not something that you very often see, but it is, not wheel-on-wheel, sorry, tyre-on-tyre contact, and not something that you very often see, but these tyres are under such massive loads already that even the tiniest extra blip from anywhere else, you'll probably end up with, punctures like we saw last weekend out. Alright, Hulkenberg in P4 is crazy, indeed it is. Hulkenberg is always surprising us. One of the Hasses is always surprising us. Oop, my mic there not having the best of times. In fact, I've got a new mic cable on order. My mic cable's having issues, not my mic. Oh. Yeah, Max says he left a car width, and like technically there is a car width, but like also it was only a car width if you decide to brake on the curbs, and braking on the curbs is never a good idea. So yeah, it is what. Yeah, the craziest part about Austria is that Max did all of that. He got a puncture, he got a penalty, and he had to come into the pits in extra time, and he still came out ahead of Sergio Perez. Like, that it's insane. To be honest, totally ridiculous. All right. Around, I think, well, according to the F1 games, the teams run pressures. Well, actually, they used to run pressures between 19 and 25. But the FIA can change that depending on what. If Pirelli say that, oh, it'll be unsafe if you run this pressure, the FIA can just say you have to run a pressure higher than this. I don't know what it is for the newer tyres, but I think it is slightly higher pressures. The blue bars means that the drivers have come into the pits. So that's what the blue bars mean. Coming in or out of the pits. All right. Just long runs going on right now. Nobody is doing any sort of laps that are setting the timing sheets alight. Everyone is going on their long runs, trying to get the data. And yeah, we saw in FP1 that the drivers were mainly on the hards and then a couple of drivers on the mediums, and this time it has been switched around to most drivers on the softs and a couple of others on the mediums. I don't understand what the yellow, blue and green bars are. Can you explain? So the blue bars, essentially, the circuit is split into into sectors. There's 3 different sectors. I think most people know what the 3 different sectors are. They're just sector 1, sector 2, sector 3. And each of those sectors is split into even smaller sectors. So Charles Leclerc going through 1 mini sector, going through a second mini sector, going through a third mini sector. And essentially all of the colours, all of they are is just yellow means the driver through that first mini sector was slower than their personal best. Going through the second mini sector, if it was green, that means quicker than their personal best. If it's purple, that means it's fastest out of any driver through that one mini sector. And then if it is blue, it means the driver is coming in or out of the pit lane. Yeah. All right. Where do you think science will go in 2025? Well, that is the question. The science does not know. How am I going to know? Yeah. Maybe I think you'll probably end up at Mercedes. I think that Toto Wolff has been trying really, really hard to get Kimi Antonelli, but Kimi Antonelli is not, I don't think he is prepared to be a Formula 1 driver just yet. So I would say he'll get Carlos Sainz for a year and then maybe Kimi Antonelli the following year. But I think for 1 year, Carlos Sainz might actually end up at the Mercedes team. Antonelli is not confirmed for Mercedes, and that is the other thing from OG Ninja. There have just been too many rumours about Sainz, and that is totally, totally true. Sainz has been rumoured to join every single team in the paddock, like every single team. So, yeah. Charles Leclerc getting a nice little drift on there coming out of Le Field, turn number 7. Does a nice job to stay within track limits there, but yeah, the car not being as stable as he would have liked, but I'm sure the team will fix it for tomorrow. That is normally the thing that we see here. You know, there is loads of issues that we see, and some teams are quicker, some teams are not. And someone's got understeer and someone's got oversteer, but overnight the teams, it is insane how many different setups that the test drivers will test. They'll have maybe 2 sim rigs. They'll have the drivers driving around throughout the night, just trying to find the most optimal possible setup to try and fix all of the issues and make it absolutely perfect for the race. And yeah, whose home race is this? It is whose home race is it? It is Lewis Hamilton's home race. It is George Russell's home race. It is Lando Norris's home race. And that is it. Yeah. And of course, it's quite a few teams' home race as well. Aston Martin's home race, their factory is about 5 minutes away from Silverstone. McLaren's home race, McLaren are a British-based team. Yeah. Oh, Lando Norris has been told over the radio when the rain hits, it could become quite heavy. So we're not going to take any risks. Interesting. it's partially Albon's home race as well. I think Albon is part Thai. I don't know if he's got a Thai passport or not, but yeah, I think he grew up in the UK, so I'm sure it counts. Yeah, so we do have a rain forecast. Of course, they've come over the radio to Lando Norris say if it starts raining, it's going to come down quite heavily, so we're not going to take any risks. And yeah, the clouds, they've been menacing all day, really. The clouds have sort of covered up the entire sky, so it might rain, it might not. But yeah, seems to be doing all right as of now. Albon races under the Thai flag, so they don't advertise him. Yeah, there we go. Races on a Thai license. He's got Thai sponsors backing him. That makes sense, yeah. Of course, you've got to come with the sweet, sweet sponsor money. Of course, Formula One is all about the money, as we have seen in recent years. It is the UK. When doesn't it rain? Indeed. Yeah. I live in the UK, as many of you may know, and when doesn't it rain? What a more true statement could never have been said before. Will Lewis outqualify George? Well, it's hard to say. It's both their home races. They're both going to go full send. But I think George Russell will pip Lewis Hamilton. I think if it rains, Lewis Hamilton will go quicker than George. But if not, George Russell will pip Lewis Hamilton. That's what I reckon. Hamilton, in fact, does have the most poles at this circuit and the most wins at this circuit, but I'm still going to back my boy George Russell. I mean, it's not even, George Russell isn't even my boy, but I'm just going to back George Russell. I think that he's been going on an upward trend in the past couple of races. And of course, he has won the Austrian Grand Prix as well. So, yeah, fantastic. Yeah, I've actually been to the UK many times. I like the place actually, but I would not live there. That is a very, very, very true statement indeed, isn't it? Is there a reason George is suddenly outqualifying Hamilton this season by a huge margin? I think at the start of the season it was a huge margin and Hamilton was struggling with the car. He was struggling with understeer, I think. The car not reacting as much as he would have liked, but I think in the past couple of races now that has evened out and the drivers are usually very, very close to each other. If you go look back through the timing sheets for the past couple of weekends, they've been basically neck and neck and nothing really to worry about. So I just think at the start of the season Hamilton was a bit behind Russell, but as of now they're on pretty level pegging. Alright. Do you think you should attend this race as it's your home GP and make a vlog? Well, that would involve doing a face reveal firstly, which I'm only going to do maybe at 100k, like I'm not sure about that just yet. And also, if you weren't here in FP1, it would actually just be cheaper for me to go to Monza, to fly out to Monza and watch the Formula 1 race in Monza or watch the Zandvoort race because Silverstone is so expensive. They haven't even sold out because that's how expensive the tickets are. So, yeah, the tickets, they're like £400 to go sit on some grass on a Sunday, which is £300-400, which is, if you convert that to euros, that's 450-500 euros. Oh, Lando Norris as well, getting a big old slide coming out of turn number 17 and turn number 7. All of the drivers looking to get as much pace out as possible. Charles Leclerc and Lando Norris doing basically identical slides coming out of those corners. It just goes to show maybe it's a lack of grip from the medium tyres, but yeah, from the aging mediums, that probably makes sense as well. Lando's done 20 laps on those medium tyres. Charles Leclerc's done 17. I guess as the tyres get more and more worn out, you lose more and more grip towards the rear. Yeah, the tickets in the UK are very, very pricey. It would probably just be better to just go to just go to Zandvoort and watch the race there. Of course, if I was a Max Verstappen supporter, then watching the race at Zandvoort would be brilliant, wouldn't it? And if I was a Ferrari supporter, then watching it at Monza would be brilliant. Yeah. Indeed, the ticket pricing does make no sense whatsoever. Red Bulls are looking ropey again this week. Well, I don't know. I think Red Bull have brought upgrades, so Red Bull should be doing fairly decently. We'll wait and see if the upgrades work, but that's a totally different question. I think that'll be answered much later on. Yeah. Yeah, the upgrades, they most likely will work. Red Bull, they went for the split specification last weekend out. They've gathered a lot of information, and I think they've went for the correct upgrade strategy. So we'll see if it works out for them, but it should be fine. Yeah, oh yeah, Silverstone, the Silverstone Race Management, they were saying, oh yeah, the tickets haven't sold out because Max Verstappen's winning everything, but no, that's just not true. The tickets haven't sold out because the tickets are just far too expensive. Yeah. With a lot of rain in the UK, do you have a big mosquito problem? No, it's normally not. I don't think it's hot enough for mosquitoes. Oh, there's a raindrop. There is a singular raindrop on on one of the cameras on the drones. Interesting. Oh no, it started to rain. It has started to rain, folks. With 6 minutes left of the practice session, there is a wet track. And the drivers are the engineers, are sticking their hands out of the pit wall, and they are, trying to feel how heavy it's raining. They're over the radio telling everyone that it is raining. And most cars are coming into the pits. There you go. Just discovered your channel. Can you explain what the dashboard, especially the yellow tick marks under S1, S2, S3? The little marks, they are the mini sectors. So the circuit's split up into multiple different mini sectors, and yellow means slower than personal best, green means quicker than personal best, purple means fastest out of any driver on the circuit, and not any driver on the circuit, just any driver whatsoever, and blue means the drivers are coming in or out of the pit lane. So those are what all of the little ticks means. And all of the rest of the things, they're just self-explanatory, really. They're just the timings, and the colours just mean the same things underneath Sector 1, 2, and 3. All right. We don't have those here. It's a misconception that lots of rain. Yeah, we don't have a lot of mosquitoes, I don't think. If the track is declared wet, they do get a free set of inters and wet tyres. I think they do. Yeah, I think they do, but don't quote me on that. I don't even think any of the drivers are going to be coming out on a set of mediums or a set of inters. Hamilton just came over the radio saying the track is fine, I'm just slow. Interesting there from Lewis Hamilton. I'm sure they'll pore over the data and realise the wet surface was making him a little bit slower. Yeah, the closest race to me is Miami, but I'd really love to go to COTA. I think it's probably better to go to COTA because Vegas is far too expensive. Miami isn't that good racing, and COTA is probably affordable. I don't know. It depends where you sit, I guess. But you get some pretty good racing around at COTA. So, yeah. Oh, we've hit our subscriber target. I hadn't realised. I guess I can just knock that up. And the umbrellas have come out, and the rain, the heavens have opened, and the rain is falling very, very heavily. And yeah, what the McLaren's engineers said, that is exactly what has happened. They said that when it starts raining, it's going to start raining heavily, and there we go. Carlos Sainz, the only driver out on the circuit, going slowly. They've come over the radio to Fernando Alonso saying, we're thinking that we're not going to gain much by doing a start on the inters unless you're keen. So you're happy to stop me. In that case, we'll call that at the end of the session. So end of the session. Yeah, so Fernando Alonso, this is normally what we see. I didn't really understand it. You might as well go out on a set and do a lap on wet tyres, like it's not going to do any harm unless you crash, but I'm sure you can tell your drivers to just drive around carefully. Interesting, yeah, don't bin it, Carlos. Indeed, that's what will be told over the radio, but he makes it into the pit lane safe and sound. Alright. Which one of the tracks do you see a race? Which one of the tracks do you want to see racing or race yourself in the current F1 calendar? Well, I would love to see some racing at the Hockenheim Ring. It'd be great to have a race in Germany, of course. Yeah, I think there's a race in France, there's a race in Italy. There's quite a lot of German history in Formula One. Of course, the only current German driver is Nico Hülkenberg, but they do, of course, have the Mercedes team. They will have Audi next year. So I think a race in Germany is probably something up on my list. And maybe one less race in Saudi Arabia, or like not Saudi Arabia, but one less race in the Middle East, and probably another race maybe in Malaysia, or yeah. All right, 1 minute 20 seconds left on the clock. Sorry, low grip conditions, wet track, DRS. I'm sure will be disabled soon enough, and nobody is coming out of the garage. Kick Sauber will be replaced by Audi. I think it might be Audi Sauber. It might just be Audi. I'm not 100% sure, but either way, that is what is going on. Alright, hope you guys are enjoying the coverage, by the way. If you are, then be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. It really does help out the channel. And yeah, hope you're enjoying the coverage. But not long left now. I'll be doing FP3 tomorrow, folks. Would love to watch Spa. Yes, Spa also a very, very good circuit. Ooh, drivers are coming out on intermediate tires. Okay, I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't even looking at the screen. I was like, right, time to wrap this up, because nobody's going to come out. But here we go. We've got a couple of drivers coming out on the intermediate tires. I think they're just doing it for a practice start, to be honest. But yeah. All right, Jackson, thank you very much for the nice comment. Is Paris a done deal, or is he going to make a comeback anytime soon? Well, it's hard to say. Me, of course, last weekend didn't get eliminated in Q3, which was the first time he'd done it in 6 races, not get eliminated in Q3, so maybe he's on an upward trend. Who knows? I absolutely love Monza, my favourite. Indeed, I'm sure Monza is a brilliant, brilliant circuit to watch a Formula 1 race at. Spa as well, yeah. Quite a lot of the European circuits are quite nice. Would be nice to go to Spielberg in the middle of the Styrian Mountains and, have a Formula 1 race there. Watch a Formula 1 race. Let me know where you would like to go to a Formula 1 race, of course, if you haven't already been. Yeah, it's interesting, actually. I don't know how many of you folks have actually been to a race. How many of you have not? Okay, but we do have our final couple of runs being done on these intermediate tyres. The first drive to take the checkered flag was George Russell. He'll be doing his final lap and then coming into the pits or doing a little start on the circuit. Alright, what else is going on? Yeah, the drive is just adapting to the conditions a little bit. This is, I guess, kind of useful information. Even just the maybe 5 minutes of practice in wet conditions, if it is going to rain on Sunday, which is kind of likely, 50-60% chance that it is going to rain, there is a very good benefit to just going out doing a couple laps there. Of course, if you do remember back all the way to 2008, where Sebastian Vettel, it was raining in free practice 1, it was raining in free practice 2. So on Fridays, and the only driver out there doing any sort of driving was Seb Vettel. The Toro Rosso team were like, right, well, you might as well, you're here to become a better driver. You're here to learn things. So it's raining, so we're going to send you out on a set of wet tyres, and you can go and do some practice. So Seb Vettel did that. On Saturday, it was raining, and things were going well. And then come qualifying, it was still raining, and all the drivers just hadn't practiced as much, and Seb Vettel came out so much further ahead and got pole position that day. Of course, some of that comes down to Seb Vettel's skill in the rain, but practice as well would have been very, very key. And then, of course, in the race, just having that extra bit of an advantage would really, really help you out. Yeah, India did also have a circuit. Seb Vettel, of course, won every single race at the Indian Grand Prix. So yeah, that'd be a good circuit to race at again. Okay. And there we go, Charles Leclerc's GPS glitches once again, and he teleports across the circuit. But all the drivers now, they're just doing their starting, they're just doing their grid starts, dial in the clutch settings in case it is wet on a Sunday. It might be wet, it might not be wet, but the teams are getting the clutch settings dialed in regardless. And that is it. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Everyone's now just making their way back to the pits, so that is that. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I hope you have enjoyed the coverage. If you have, then be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. Yeah, and I will be commentating FP3 tomorrow, and then of course qualifying as well, and then the race on Sunday. We've got a lot of stuff. Well, we've got a very exciting race on our hands. We could have potential rain in the mix as well. The McLarens challenging the Red Bulls. We could have the Mercedes drivers getting up into the mix as well. Lots of action that we have got in store for us today. So let's wait and see what will happen. Not today. We've got lots of action in store for us in the next 2 days. But yeah, that has been FP2 for you. Have a wonderful morning, day, afternoon, evening, or night, depending on where you are in the world, folks. I'm going to end the stream. It'll take you over to the stream for FP3. So go ahead and just press the reminder button and press the like button for tomorrow's stream as well. And that should be the end of Quali. Nothing much else to add, to be honest. That is it from me. And I'll see you tomorrow for FP3 and Quali, yeah. Cheers, folks. Bye-bye.